It's time! Hey guys, Pitmaster here. All right, got a question I'm going to answer. Is BJJ good for the street? That's kind of a loaded question because I think most BJJ that like the BJJ at our gym, we teach Hawaiian Kempo, and that's for the street. It's like that's pretty much all it is for the street, and I mean it's a martial art, but it addresses everything. Our BJJ program is for sport, so it's not specifically for the street. But with that said, I'm sure there's a lot of BJJ schools that teach the street application of their techniques. But I think like MMA is very useful for the street, but in and of itself, MMA is a sport. Right? You're not going to tap in the street. There's not going to be a referee in the street. MMA is a sport. So Hawaiian Kempo. Okay, I'll tell you that. Chi Baker. Hawaiian Kempo is what I got. I got my black belt in Kaji Kempo. So I studied Kaji Kempo. I'm from Hawaii. And then when I just never liked katas or forms or any of that stuff. So when I got out of when I got out of the Army and I started training in my own backyard, I did away with the katas and some of the prearranged movements of Kaji Kempo, which I love Kaji Kempo, but I don't like katas. I don't like forms. So I knew I couldn't be true to the Kaji Kempo roots if I called it Kaji Kempo, so I wanted to come up with a different name. So I love the name Kempo because it means law of the fist. So I was just going to call it Kempo, but there's too many different Kempos. So since I'm from Hawaii, I called it Hawaiian Kempo. So this question is from my buddy, I don't know really how to say this, Hamza Heaps. Maybe that's his screen name. But he's my buddy on Facebook. We go back and forth on a lot of stuff. So Hamza wanted to talk about jiu-jitsu. Is it for the street? So that's my long and short answer. I think it can be. Shotokan karate can be for the street, but a lot of the stuff they do is katas and forms and stuff for tournaments. They teach tournament fighting. So that isn't specifically for the street. Some of the stuff could work on the street. Like if somebody, did a back fist, and it landed just right, it could beat someone. Hey, you're welcome. But it's not made for the street. I mean, like our jiu-jitsu, our Brazilian jiu-jitsu program is for sport. You have to have an upper hand. Real life would be no rules, yeah. It would come down to whoever best skills. Yeah, I mean, boxing is a sport, right? Boxing is a sport. Hey, what's up, Mary? Man, we missed you when we were in Hawaii. I wish you could have connected. Boxing is a sport, but can you imagine if Mike Tyson hit someone with his overhand right in the street? Right. So if Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you got a choke on someone and you're a sport guy, but you happen to get him in a choke, you're still, whether it's the street or not, right? But my point is it's not made for the street. Hey, I did, man. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be here, Tim. So my answer is a lot of the stuff isn't made for the street. Like a lot of the clinching to me, will get you stabbed or bitten or eye gouged or something. Like setting up certain techniques will get you in, puts you in bad positions. But if you get those positions and you get the submission, then whether it's the street or the sport, you're going to win. But I don't think they were made for the street. Just like point fighting karate is not made for the street. Boxing's not made for the street, right? It doesn't address takedowns. Wrestling's not made for the street. But if someone got a good double leg, somebody cracked their head on the ground, they just won the street fight. So a lot of these sports, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, MMA, they're not made for the street, but they can be effective in the street if the techniques, work. But I think if you're going to train for the street, you should train exclusively for the street. Like, you can use a lot of the Hawaiian Kempo techniques in the cage, but it's not made for the cage. But there is some crossover. So, mental approach. Yeah, mental approach has a good thing to, yeah. What's it called, Tim? You got to name it. Hey, you're welcome, Tim. Thank you. What's your system called? You got to have a good name for it. That's why I named mine Hawaiian Kempo. Yeah. I love Tony. I love his philosophy and stuff, I don't know about his techniques for a real fight. I don't know. But I like his philosophy. I've never really studied his techniques. We happen to be friends, and I like his philosophy. But I haven't studied the spear system technique-wise, but I like his philosophy. Mental approach, 90%. Yeah, yes and no, Tim. Like, if some guy has a great mental approach, but he gets caught just right on the chin, fight's over no matter what. So I don't think it's 90%. I'll say, I don't know what percent. I can't really put a percentage on it. Because once you get hit, put in a choke, slammed on the ground in the concrete, fight's over. It doesn't matter what your mental approach is. So there is a big mental approach to it, but I don't think it's 90%. I think there's too many other factors in a real fight to make 90% of the battle. But it does have a good going in, definitely. And in a cage fight, training for a sport fight, it's 90+% going in. But once you get in, that 90% cuts down to maybe 50%. You know what I mean? 90% when you're training for the fight. But once the fight starts, you can't say that anymore because there's too many buttons, like your chin, your throat, stuff like that. But anyway, so that's how I feel about jiu-jitsu. I think it's a great sport, and a lot of it can transfer to the street. And then if you add stuff to it and still call it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like Royce Gracie did, that wasn't Jiu-Jitsu. That was Vale Tudo when he went in the cage and changed the world of MMA or the world of martial arts. That wasn't what Bruce Lee was doing. Wasn't Wing Chun, so he changed the name to Jeet Kune Do, right? Or yeah, a lot of it will. A lot of sports stuff will get you killed in the street. But guess what? If you landed a rear choke in you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, and you landed that choke, guess what? You just won the fight. But getting to that choke with all the other factors in a street fight, I think you'd have to change up the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to be more street effective. So that's how I feel about that. But I think it's a great sport, and just like boxing is. Both can be used in the street, but they're not made for the street. Yeah, but yeah, just like they say, who is it? Henzo Gracie. He says, even if you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, the first time you get hit, you're back down to a brown belt. And then the second time you get hit, you're a blue belt. And the third time you get hit, you're a white belt. So, and the opposite is true for a striking guy. You know, you could be the best boxer in the world. And the first time you get taken down, you're not the best anymore. Then you get taken down again. You're not. So you have to know, you have to be well-rounded. You have to be able to defend the takedown. You have to know you can't clinch if somebody has their mouth or eyes or gouging fingers to gouge you. You know, so you have to know these things in the street. So you have to know how to defend a takedown, but sometimes you have to know how to get a takedown too. Because what if the guy's too big and too strong, and the punching game isn't going your way in the street? You have to learn how to do takedowns as well, right? You have to learn simple postural defense from the bottom. What if it hits the ground? You have to learn some basic escapes, some basic posture. You have to learn how to break posture. There's a lot of things you have to learn in the street that don't apply as much in the cage, and then a lot of things do apply. So it goes back and forth. Who would make a favorite Bellator? Who's in it again? I forgot who's in it, but I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Bader. I don't know. Hey, thanks, Tim. You guys have any questions before I hit it? Before I call it a day? I got lots of. It's my Friday. It's my Friday. It's everybody's Friday. But anyways, that's how I feel, guys. Again, I think MMA is a sport. It's not for the street, but it can be used in the street. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a great sport. It's for the mat, but a lot of it can carry over to the street. Boxing is a great sport, but it can carry over to the street. Now you start putting all these things together. Now you got a street system, right? You know, take out some of the clinching of some of the jiu-jitsu, and then put in more effective clinching for street. Keep a double leg takedown for wrestling, great for the street. Keep the defense for the takedown in wrestling, but now add some better stances, some punches, some basic postural changes, and you got a street technique, right? So anyway, I think all these things are great for. You should come in, but it doesn't say add. I can't add you, Nico. But so that's how I feel about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love it. I think it's a great sport. I love point fighting karate. I think that's a great sport. I love katas. They're great for the sport. But they're not for the street. So, I mean, they're not effective in the street. So that's how I feel about it. Any more questions before I go? But anyway, thanks for coming, guys. Share this. Keep this conversation going. Is BJJ good for the street? It's that's a loaded question, and I think I answered it. If you got any more questions, comments, complaints, criticisms, or anything else you want me to talk about, hey, Jessica, we just talked about your hubby. Then feel free to personally message me, text me, tweet me, Instagram. Check out my Instagram. I got some self-defense techniques I put up all the time. I'm putting up a rear naked choke defense video right now on I just put it up on my YouTube. So, all right. Hey, what's up? So that's how I feel. Where are you, Jessica? You guys never come up here. You and your handsome hubby. Hey, Wesley. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to talk to Tony about that. Tony Blauer about some of these self-defense techniques. Oh yeah, Tim Dirt. Yeah, I don't get them, man. I'll send you one. I'll send you one today. All right, and then you make sure you reply. What are you talking about? I invite your hubby all the time. I can't. I saw your head movement. Why did you pick Tex Cobb? You know, I love Tex Cobb, man, but he had no head movement. He was like, this was his head movement. Tex Cobb head movement was when he'd get hit, his head would move like this. But he had absolutely none. Yeah. Oh, you know what, Zach? I was going to do yours tomorrow. I think that's a really good video. I think that's a good defense. The second time he was getting away, I think this is what the first thing you have to do. This is the first thing you have to do in a choke defense. You know, I think it'd be great. We could do political on a podcast. Jessica, you and I on a podcast will make it political. I think, but it has to be away from my martial arts. It has to be away from my martial arts, platforms, because I don't want to mix my political with my martial arts. But I love the martial. Go to the Hack Stand. The Hack Stand on Facebook. Like you go to facebook.com/the Hack Stand, and I do a lot of political stuff there. But I don't want to mix my political with my martial arts. I've had so many people tell me not to do that, so I try not to. But I'm losing out on something I love to do because I love to talk about politics, but I don't like to mix it with my martial arts. So yeah, check me out there. Text me later. We'll talk about it. I like to talk. What do you want to talk about? What else do you want to talk about, Tim? You missed, what'd you miss, Nico? We talked about, is BJJ good for the street? And Zach, I did like that defense. But I think everybody just, the most basic choke defense, everybody has to learn, like that girl said not to, don't worry about the arm around your neck. You have to disregard that. This has to be the first thing that you do. You have to bury your chin and you have to pull that arm away as hard as you can. And you have to try to go for the elbow. You have to go right here and just try to bury your chin there as much as you can. Not grind it or anything like that. You just have to bury it so it gives you some breathing room and then work on the escape. But that has to be the first thing you do, or within a matter of a few seconds, you're going to go to sleep. So I didn't like that girl's defensive video, but I did like that guy. I did like that one you sent me, Zach. I thought it was interesting. You have to tuck the chin. One of these pieces. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to do politics on this. But hey, Jessica, text me later. Let's do a political, I don't know, podcast or something. I think it would be freaking hilarious. Freaking hilarious. We could talk about Zarate, who just got let go from shooting that 5-time, by can have your teeth folded back by tucking. I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, so he got deported 5 or 6 times, keeps sneaking back in, convicted, multiple felon. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's happening here. I'd love to talk about it, but not on this. You're being Michael Bird. Oh yeah? By tucking your chin? Yeah, I don't know. So you're saying don't tuck your chin? I'd rather lose my teeth than be choked unconscious. I'd rather lose my teeth than die. So, I mean, there might be a trade-off for tucking your chin, but I'm willing to take that. Just like people say you shouldn't punch in a street fight because you might break your hand. Guess what? I'd rather break my hand than end up in a freaking a coffin because I didn't use my fists. So, yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Yeah, I know, bro. Bring me down. Let's do it. Let's do a course. I love to go back home, man. I love to visit. I didn't get what you said, Tim, because it went by. You're saying we should be represented by. It's political. I can't talk political on this, bro. It's just I'll get in trouble. My wife will kill me. My wife is guess what? My wife's a liberal. Can you believe I'm married to a liberal? Can you imagine what goes on in the house? Yeah, it's like we're like this. When there was the election, we went out and bought a Hillary mask for her and a Trump mask for me, and we did little skits and shit. Yeah, but I love her. We can argue and get along. Some people we can't. Like my mom won't even talk to me anymore. I mean, there's certain people that won't even talk to me, but some people don't. I mean. And some people do. Some people can just argue. I love to argue politics. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I mean, give me climate change. I'll argue anyone about climate change. Immigration. I mean, I love it. If it is funny. I mean, it's my wife, so we have a good time with it. Talking about your system. Oh, yeah? Yeah, it's good. That's good, Chi. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being up here. We'd have so much fun, man. Yeah, I just did a I just put I'm gonna put it on my. I'm trying to refine it. 5 traits. 5 different kinds of Democrats. Why you'd be a Democrat, and I have 5 different reasons. You're gonna love it. It's pretty funny. I'm not going to talk about it right here. There's no way am I going to talk about it right here. This is the wrong platform. But there's 5 different kinds of Democrat. You'll love it. You'll love it. My wife doesn't love it. My mom won't even talk to me anymore. But anyway. So what's up, Nico? You got well, show me that defense later. Show a video. Make a video of it and send it to me. Because I'd love to see it, man. Yeah, I'd love to see. I'm always, I mean, man, I remember when I first started Open Hawaiian Kempo, we just always working on stuff, bringing stuff into our system. I got really good jiu-jitsu guys, really good wrestling guys. I've worked with 2 Olympic silver medalists, Sammy Henson and Matt Lindland. I mean, extensively work with them. Worked on with takedown defense over and over and over. How to take down defense over, from strikes. I worked on different takedowns for a striker. What's a better takedown, that a non-takedown guy should use. I work with the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world. I've worked extensively with like Laborio, Ricardo Laborio. I've worked with some of the best jiu-jitsu guys around. So I brought in a lot of this stuff, and I've mixed it with Hawaiian Kempo, but I've kept it for a street system. But I know people are going to get taken down sometimes, so I've always been mindful of that. So some karate guys just say, if they come to take me down, I'm going to hit them, and I'm like, you can't do that. They're going to actually take you down. And when you hit them from your back, it's not very effective. So I've been working on takedown defense for a long time. And I've worked on takedowns because sometimes, even though we're mainly striking art, the guy might be bigger and stronger. So we learn takedowns. We drill takedowns. All my students know how to take people down. My kids know how to take people down. My Pee-wee class, 3 to 6, they start learning how to do takedowns and takedown defense. But we also learn how to punch, how to elbow, so we learn it all. Because I know a fight can turn at any second. And you have to know in the street, or you might die and not go home. then you won't get to see your family. You're going to be in a fucking coma, laying there, being turned every 4 hours by a Filipino nurse that's overworked. You're going to have a tracheostomy tube. They're going to have to come and suction and out every couple hours, or you're going to get an infection. You're going to get pseudomonas. You're going to get pneumonia. So it's not good to end up in the coma. So you have to learn effective self-defense. You have to learn. Or you're going to end up, like I said, being turned every 4 hours by a very nice but very overworked Filipino nurse. Let me tell you why they're overworked. Because they want to work like they want to buy Gucci purses, BMWs, or new Mercedes. So they work their ass off. They work 16 hours a day. They work 80, 90 hours a week, you know? So yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Kelly. That's right. Yeah, hey, text me later. Jessica, you got my number. Text me later. If you don't have it, send me a personal message. All right. Yeah, Kelly. I know, and I think me and Kelly are, Kelly and I we're cousins in the martial arts world, and I think we have a lot of the same philosophies. Why are they always Filipino? I don't know, because when there was a nursing shortage, I think in the late 70s, early 80s, I think maybe mid 70s, there was a big nursing shortage in California, and they were recruiting nurses, and a lot of nurses they brought in from the Philippines, and there was a lot from Canada too, but a lot from the Philippines. And the Filipino nurses came here, and they're like, "Oh man, I can work 16 hours a day here. I can work 80 hours a week here. I'm staying here." So the Filipino nurses, man, they work their ass off. And they, like I said, they drive around in Mercedes. They have Gucci bags. They have beautiful homes. They've adopted and adapted to the American way of life. You know, the American dream. They work their ass off and they reap the benefits of that. And a lot of times they can't do that back home. So they come here, and no, they're not committing crimes. They don't need a fucking sanctuary city because they're coming over here committing crimes. They are coming over here working their fucking ass off, and they're living the American dream. Filipino nurses are like, I don't know, that's like it's like the American story, the perfect story. But anyway, there's a lot of them. I don't know. I bet you like 70% of all nurses are Filipino. The first thing a Filipino guy asks a Filipino lady, a girl at a party is, "Are you RN?" Because they know if they're an RN, they're going to be taken care of financially. Anyway. I know. I remember them from social. Yeah, I know. But you live in the middle of the country. They probably didn't get that far in yet. There's probably more on the coasts. Filipino nurses, I mean. Right? Anyway. So, anything else, guys? I'm out of here soon. Tim, I'm gonna friend you today, so make sure you look for my my friend request and we'll sorry about that if I didn't get it. But anyways, that's all I got, guys. Thanks for coming. Share this. Keep responding on this. Keep this conversation going. And I will see you guys. Have a great weekend if I don't talk to you. Wait, who are fat with rotting teeth? The nurses there? You got fat nurses with rotting teeth? Man, not here, bro. Here, we got beautiful people here in California. You should come back. Filipino. Have a good day, guys. Thanks for coming.